when you look at what Green Bay did in this draft, 3 straight defensive players. Brandon Cisse, I kept saying Cisse on the record, like joking around. Now I'm calling him that. Brandon Cisse, the defensive back out of South Carolina in the second round, who a lot of people thought great value for Green Bay there. They get Chris McClellan, the defensive tackle out of Missouri at 77, someone the Packers have said that they thought about taking in the second round. So whatever you think about him, Green Bay clearly valued this guy pretty highly. And then what most people are saying, one of the better value picks in the draft, denied Dennis Sutton, the edge out of Penn State, in the 4th round. The Packers need another edge rusher. They need more production at that position. And you go get someone who, you're hoping, even a 4th rounder, you can't expect too much, but you're hoping can come in and have an impact. Great athleticism, just never really reached that potential. And maybe with Micah Parsons, you could get a little bit more out of him. Another Penn State guy, right? So those are the first 3 picks. They end with the center, another defensive back, Alabama, and a kicker. We'll see what happens with the kicker. They could absolutely use some clutch field goals in Green Bay. But the last time Green Bay took 3 straight defensive players, give you 1 second. Can you think off the top of your head? Last time Green Bay opened their draft with 3 straight defensive players off the board. 2018. So it's been 8 years since then. Right? A lot. I mean, over the past few years, Golden the year before, they've done a lot of work on the offensive line. Tight end in some rounds, right? I think Tucker Kraft was 2nd round, if I'm correct. They've got the weapons. They feel confident with Jordan Love, the guys they have, right? You let Dontavian Wicks go, or you trade him, Romeo Doubs is gone. They're very comfortable with the group of Watson, Reed, Kraft, Matthew Golden. We'll see what happens with Savion Williams, Josh Jacobs. Jordan Love they have a ton of faith in him, clearly. The offense is good to go. Little help on the offensive line. You need some things to break the right way there, but should be fine. This is a very clear message of, if Jonathan Gannon can get this defense back on track, and I do say back on track, I'll tell you why in a second. This is the year. Like this has to be the time. And I said this on a few shows ago. Green Bay, this season to me, feels like a team where if they can't make progress, I'm going to stop. I mean, I hate the Packers. You guys know that. I really do. Like when we went to the Packer game, when we went to the Viking Packer game and we're getting laughed off the field, and I had this one Packer fan yelling, "Thank you, Jerry," in my ears. McCarthy's sacked for the 6th time. And just people are teasing us. Like, it was horrible. I mean, well, it wasn't the end of the world, but like as a Viking fan, it was hell. Hell. I hate Green Bay, the Packers. But I do think they're a really good football team. And I do think that there's a lot of reason for optimism. If they can't figure it out this year and break through this 7 seed, ritual that they have almost at this point, it's like tradition. The Packers are the 7 seed, they lose in the first round. Then I might just think this is who they are. They need to be able to get through that. And you bring in Jonathan Gannon now, hoping that he can take the defense to the next level. And they closed last year 11th in points per game and 12 in yards per game. It's a solid defense. But you want to take that jump. And there's a trend right now in the NFL. I think if you really think about it, you could get there. But the past 3 Super Bowl champions by points per game: Seattle, number 1. Philly, number 2 in the league in the 2024 season. Kansas City, the year they beat San Francisco, number 2 in the league in points per game. The 49ers, their opponent, they were the number 1 points per game defense for the NFC that year. So we're seeing the trend of the best defenses are taking their teams there. Now, you need to have a good offense, right? It's not like, Sam Darnold in Seattle had one of the best scoring offenses in football. The Saquon Barkley Eagles were dynamic. The Chiefs team actually was, statistically, they were not that great, but Mahomes makes big plays in big moments. The Packers are there. You feel like the offense is on that level. The defense is not there yet. Even in yards per game, right? Seattle 6, Philly 1, Kansas City 2. Green Bay's not at that level. Where the past 3 Super Bowl matchups have been top 5 scoring defenses going against each other. And in Green Bay right now, it feels like it's Micah Parsons and the rest of the group. There are some good players there, right? I mean, we know that. But Micah Parsons has such a big impact on them that when he was gone, right? You think about that Broncos game, the 2 Bears games that you lost. Baltimore, even with Malik Willis, Packers couldn't get a stop, especially when it mattered. The Bears game in the playoffs, the second half went field goal, interception, field goal, touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. Your season's over. There were a lot of times where you look back on Green Bay, and as the game went on, they just could not get off the field. And there was a really interesting data point that I saw when you compared the quarter points by quarter, right, for the offense and the defense. The Packers' offense last year, 28th in the league, points per quarter in the first quarter. Their defense, number 1. So their defense allowed the fewest points in the first quarter. Their offense scored the 28th fewest. Then if you look in the fourth quarter, Packers offense goes up to the 7th highest scoring offense. Packer defense, 29th in the league, 8.8 points per quarter. So you saw that, like we talk about the consistency of Green Bay and the problems that they had putting together complete games. That statistic right there shows it all. First quarter, they get off to slow starts. They stop everyone. Fourth quarter, they're in shootouts. It's felt like a million times you could remember Packer games where there were shootouts. Dallas, I mean, the Bears games at the end of the season, the Lions game on Thanksgiving, just touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. And a lot of those games, they lost. When you get in a shootout at the end of the game, you make one mistake, which Green Bay did over the course of the year. If your defense can't get off the field, you're going to lose that football game. And that's why you're seeing these draft day decisions of how heavy they're focused in on the defense. They know what the problem is. They got to get off the field, man. And when Micah Parsons is hurt, very pedestrian. When he's on the field, there were moments where the Packers looked like they had one of the best defenses in football. But as the games wore on, you can see they got worse. And the offense just took some time to warm up. Now that's a problem that needs to be fixed too, right? You can't be 28th in the league. They go by quarter, they go 28th, 14th, 12th, 7th. So by the end of the game, it's one of the best offenses in football. But if you're starting every game slow, that's when the defense is playing their best football, get that lead and hold on to it. And that was a problem for Green Bay last year. Caleb Williams only getting better. The Lions addressed the line. That was their big problem. Vikings have a new quarterback who you're hoping is not the second worst of the century. The offenses should be better in the NFC North. And that's why you're seeing this real push for defense in Green Bay. They knew cornerback was an issue. They got 2 guys. Now, I don't know how excited you get about Damani Jackson. I saw some people are pretty pumped. I'm pretty sure he was benched at one point this year. But this is why you're seeing this push. The teams that are winning are the teams that are top 5 in points per game on defense right now. It's like Mike McDonald, the defensive creativity. You hear players talk about it. I mean, he's amazing. Mike McDonald's one of the best coaches in football. I feel like finally winning the Super Bowl, you're seeing him in those conversations for the first time. But the defenses are winning the day right now. And it was a big issue for them at the end of the year, being able to close out games. So I like the philosophy for Green Bay. I'm seeing a lot of people giving them high grades in the draft. I don't dive into the draft the way a lot of people do. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I could break down, Brandon Cisse's game tape. I'm not doing that. But a lot of people seem really happy with the picks that they got there. And when I look at how they addressed cornerback, tackle, edge, those were their biggest needs. So they went out and they took care of it in the draft here. They didn't take guys who are injury prone like the Vikings. And you got to be feeling pretty good going into next season. And if one of those guys can step up, it's a huge win for the Packers. But I mean, those dudes do have a lot of pressure on their shoulders because when Parsons was out and he's not going to be back to start the year, this Packer defense needs to elevate. The offense does too. Like, don't get me wrong. I still think the majority of the season is focused on Jordan Love consistently being that elite guy. And he usually is. He's like 8 times out of 10, you're going to get elite Jordan Love. But you need him to almost be MVP-like. And that to me is the biggest story for Green Bay. But the defense, man, and they believe he can do that. But the defense was something they didn't believe in. And they feel like they've done the right moves here to put them in a position to be successful.